And there's things like that in there where there's some ways. People also go through life cycles. There's nothing saying that everybody's in the same plan. There's not an option of two plans. If you change your life cycle, you get older, you've already had your children, you may decide to go a little different route. There's no options in there for that. Some of the minor things that could be changed, it could be changed by your renewal. But with the same carrier, because they've got all the numbers.
Okay, well, thank you. Commissioner, you want?
I have a couple of questions. The $400,000 that was referenced, the $400,000 increase if no changes are made. As one of the cost-saving measures in the current budget, we're looking at decreasing our health insurance costs by $200,000 just by switching to multiple options in these different tiers essentially by expanding our options. I'm not recalling the $400,000.
Well, that was in the meeting that the lady gave when she passed out this book that I received a copy of. I'm not for sure.
So I guess
what's
what
been
those
done
numbers
since
mean,
then.
I guess what that adds up to is that we would be seeing, and this is just for my clarity, I guess that means that we would be seeing a $600,000 increase, but as a result of these changes we're making, we're only seeing a $400,000 increase. Is that what it
That's what I'm understanding, because according to them, your increase from 210 to 211 for a family is going from 1422 to 1564 per family, and you've got well over 100 families per month, and you take the math, do the math, it's pretty substantial.
The changes you're proposing, to what extent do they amount to a decrease in benefit?
Well, it would all depend what you would allow, but they're going to the doctor like for $5 and $6 and $10. Those days are gone. They've also got some things in there where you allow them to come on the program and get off their current program. Just some fluff stuff in there that just needs to be changed. And I'm not sure the numbers of the people that work other places. I don't have those numbers from Randy, but from what I could anticipate in talking with them, we do have several folks. But even if you take 20 people that are double dipping, and you figure they're double dipping, and you talk about $300 a person, that's $6,000 a month, that's $72,000 a year. That's just in one small move of where they're getting insurance somewhere else, where they don't need to be buying it here. But you're paying for it because they have an option of getting money from their current employer, and then they're paying it down, and then they're getting it here very inexpensive. I mean, it's just little things like that all through the program. You also pay if you go to some services, you pay it 100%, which most folks don't do. There's a whole lot of that in there. And there's a whole lot where people are taking advantage of the system, and that's okay, but the system, with your budget increases and the increase you were looking at, they could be gotten out of there. Nobody would basically be hurt, except would bring it more into play of what's going on right now. And the cost effectiveness would be tremendous.
Mr.
We recognized, that we have not kept up with the changes, and that the city of Frankfort has not really made any significant change in their health insurance for quite a few years, and that was the reason we were not competitive in the market and facing $350,000 to $400,000 increase per year. On the other hand, we didn't want to slam our employees by making drastic changes, so we made some incremental changes, which should make us more competitive in the market. And I think we got a lot of support from our staff, because we did come up with many more options than were offered before.
Well, your current program, when they went to bid it out, according to them, nobody else would even look at it but their current carrier.
Right.
And that's pretty sad,
Right.
because it's very, very plush. And there's some fluff in there that doesn't need to be in there, that nobody would even get hurt on, except it's in there and they have to charge for it. And that's a real issue.
Mr. Wild.
Go ahead.
I'd be interested in hearing more about some of the fluff you're describing, but the commission certainly did make a pretty conscious decision not to cut benefits. We're aware of the fact that our plan's pretty rich. We made a pretty conscious decision not to just, as the city manager said, not to slam our employees with.
Well, no, I'm not trying to slam your employees, Silas. I just don't think you should be paying for something that you really don't use. And like I expressed the last time, you have no financial incentive in your plan right now not to get sick.
Right.
I mean, it's cheaper for you to get, I mean, to go to the doctor for $5 or so that's out of whack. I mean, some of your prescriptions are not even close to what they, you know, your co-pays. And then some other things that are in there that if they take those out and they don't have to charge for those on an actuarial basis, they don't have to plug those in because they'll plug them and say, well, this could happen, but if it's not in there, you know. And then your double dippers is another issue, which I think is a big issue. When we redid it over next door, the first year that we did that, they saved $535,000, and then next year they saved $785,000 because they had a severe issue of double dippers. Now, you don't have a severe problem, Mr. Mayor, but you do have an issue. And the way the contract is written now, they have a right to do that because your contract is so plush. And all you would have to do is go from the 100% to something more 2011, and those people, and then force those people to go back to where they should be going, would be a real, you know, would save everybody a lot of money.
Okay.
There's like one last thought.
Sure.
In terms of, this is just my 2 cents, and I can only speak for myself. I mean, would you be comfortable guaranteeing cost savings beyond, you know, cost savings above
Beyond
your
my
consulting
fee?
as in guaranteeing them, just in terms of identifying systemic inefficiencies as opposed to actually cutting benefits? 'Cause if so, then I'd be happy to.
I think Samask, yeah, if you're looking at just cutting the fluff out
Yeah.
and allowing us to cut out the double dippers, and that would be way above my fee. Just let me give you, for instance, listen, something that you all can think about. I pulled the state contract. You all are paying more than what the state pays. That's not good. And they're, of course, they're self-funded, they're self-insured, you're self-funded, which basically means you have reinsurance and they don't, okay? And I think that's severe because your contract is so plush, and because there's a lot of fluff in there that doesn't need to be in there, you're paying for that fluff and you don't need to be paying for that. I mean, when I went through the book that I received in your benefit program, there's probably 15 or 20 pages in there that just got stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. I mean, right now, they have no options to go from Plan A to Plan B. Like right now, we try to encourage everybody over 50 to go get a colonoscopy at no charge. Okay, that's not in there. We encourage women to all have mammograms at a certain age, and if they're on a fast track because their mother, their grandmother, their aunt, or their sisters have had breast cancer problems or something, we put them on a fast track. There's nothing in there. There's nothing encouraging in there really to lose weight. There's nothing encouraging there. There is something a little bit about non-smoking, but there's no health plans to make, no health coaches if they have a problem either with divorce or they want to lose weight or they've got some issues with. There's nothing in there to help these folks. There's none of those programs that are out there now that can help you all. There's no health coach to say, you know, which plan do I choose from? Well, we sit down and we look at what your certain situation is, and we say, okay, you don't need this Real Plush program because you don't have the need anymore. You ought to go over here. There's no guidance for these folks at all. It's just, here it is, take it or leave it. And I think a lot of folks need guidance because, as you know, insurance is something, gotta hope it's good because when I need it, I hope it's there. But in between times, they don't fully understand what's there, and that causes a problem of dissension. Now, I don't want it. You know, I'm not here to cause dissension in the troops. I really am not. But you're not going to please everybody, and I don't ever plan on pleasing everybody. But I think what we have to do is bring it more in line with what's going on. And if it saves the city $500,000-$600,000, then I think that's what you need to seriously look at.
Okay, good.
I guess that's good.
I can.
Could you respond, Mr. Donahue? Could
Yeah,
you
just a
respond
couple
to-
things or
Please,
whatever. We've, with the changes, the proposal that the commission kind of gave us the blessing to move forward with 3 weeks ago, I guess, or trying to remember back exactly when. We went from one plan with 2 options, 2 tiers, to 3 plans with 4 tiers. So we're giving employees a lot of options now to choose different plans based on what suits their personal and their family needs or their stage in life or various things like that. We've got away from the 100% plan, and One of the plans we're offering has 95% co-insurance. The other one has 80%. And then we're offering a high deductible plan with an HSA. So compared to the 2010 plan, there is a lot of things that should have been done. And the proposal that we put before you a month or two ago that you told us to move forward with does a lot of those things. I'm not saying there aren't more things in there that could be addressed, but we've done, by shifting the premiums and by shifting the benefit structure, I think we've taken the first step toward going where we need to go. And certainly it would be my intention, if I'm still here, to continue every year to be thinking about looking at the healthcare data, looking at the cost data, and determining, are there things that continue to need to be tweaked? And in all likelihood, the answer is going to be yes. Every employer out there is tinkering. If they're not tinkering with the employee share of the premium, they're tinkering with the benefit structure almost every year. And so, we just got behind the 8 ball because we didn't do hardly anything for 14 years. When the city went self-funded in 97, we just sort of, that was a major change, I'm sure, but then it apparently stopped. And so I think we've taken the first step. And the thing that I think you do need to be careful about is when you start talking about benefits, if you're, the employee's perspective is that if you're changing the level of coverage they've got or what the plan is paying, you taken away. Believe me, I've met with 80 or 90 employees since 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon in 6 sessions, and I'm hearing it. And that's not to say we can't tinker some more, but I think we tried to find a balance between getting it right, where we doing all the things we knew that needed to be done, and not shoving it down our employees' throat all at once. I think we need to, Fred and I talked about, we probably need a 4-year plan or a 5-year plan, because we're going to have to get on par with the other employers. We're out of sync with what they're doing and what it's causing. And I know employees don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. We're carrying a lot of spouses, and because I'm getting chewed up in these meetings, a lot of spouses from state government, county government, other employers, they got smart and they started giving their employees a couple $1,000s a year to waive coverage and run them to our employees' plan. And for every one of those spouses on our plan that they could be on somebody else's plan, our stop loss doesn't kick in until that participant has $75,000 worth of claims. So if we've got 40 of those spouses, and I don't have no idea, I'm just picking a number, we're exposed to $75,000 worth of claims 40 times that maybe the state or the county or some other employer ought to be exposed to instead of us. We got ourselves in this situation. We had the best plan in town at the best price in town, other than maybe the plant board, and we didn't get in the incentive game like other employers did. It'll be my intention to try to come to you guys in August probably and say, we were just talking about this, the Wells Fargo folks last night. I think we need to get in the incentive game, and when we do that and start giving our employees an incentive to waive coverage here, some of them will migrate to other employers' plans. But they'll only do that when our family rate gets in the ballpark with their family rates. When our benefit structure gets in on the same playing field as their benefit structure. I think it's going to be a slow process unless, and you can do it. We could do it fast, but I think you're going to get employee kickback if you do. And we've got a lot of people awful close to retirement age, and I don't want to create a flood worse than we've already got of people running out the door and us not losing just so much institutional knowledge at one time. But there are things that could be, that there is some fruit in there to be picked. I think we turned the corner and we're getting there.